at the end of Series 8, you know?
But does it bother you when he breaks the fourth wall? Like he has straight up addressed the audience, and I know they're writing him that way, but he looks right at the camera and he's talking to an invisible audience, or maybe he's not. Maybe there's someone there. Maybe he's talking to the TARDIS.
You know, it doesn't, like, because there was always kind of that moment and again, that kind of goes back to the Blink episode. I think that's part of the reason that episode really grasps a lot of people as probably one of the most
Oh, you talk about this
relatable episodes.
when it opens up with the TV and David Tennant's in it?
Right, and it looks as if he's talking directly to you.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things that made it a big impression, and also the fact that there was barely any Doctor in this episode, and it still worked really well.
Right, and the bits that we do get are just they grasp you, and it's like, oh well, this could happen to any person, and it made it more relatable. It kind of played to the viewer fantasy of one day the man in the big blue box could show up, you know.
You know, that episode is the Blink is, I think, widely regarded as the best episode, you know, in a new series. But you know, there wasn't even the companion wasn't there either. It was just like random people that were getting a message from the Doctor.
Yeah.
You didn't see the Doctor in the flesh, nor his companion till the end.
So right at the end.
That always blows my mind when I think about that. Huh.
Now, from what I'm gathering of this newest episode, it reminds me of an episode, and I'm going to bring this up. I know I've been gone for a while, but I know you don't think I'd let it slip.
Well, this is always your home, bro. I always talk about you.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh!
Yeah, that's right. It's coming back, folks.
By the way, I'm glad I did not start that back up since you've been gone.
Oh.
I'd be overwhelmed.
But there was an episode in Buffy the Vampire Slayer called Hush. And
I do seem to recall that.
the way it was one of their bigger episodes. It was kind of like their Blink, other than the musical they had done. And the idea was everyone was able to talk, and then all of a sudden, boom, no one could talk. And yeah, like no one, all of a sudden everything went silent, and the whole rest of the episode was shot with no speech. Like it really relied heavily on the actors, and like they didn't, like, a little bit of writing on paper and whatnot, but for the most part everything was very, you know, body language communication, and it kind of relayed that.
I say just something similar to that here. I think Matt Smith would be phenomenal because he's very physical. Like, we always talk about the physicality of Matt Smith was one of his strengths. Yeah. I wonder if Peter Capaldi could pull off something like that in an episode.
Maybe. To me, it feels like that would be one of those more. I would almost say Tennant over Smith, even, because you could always get that read of emotion off of Tennant right away.
Yeah.
When he drops, like, probably one of the most famous lines of the new series sets, where he's just like, I don't want to go. I think everybody just kind of like choked up a little. They were just like, but he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, he did brooding and like heart tugging very well. There was lots of feels with him.
Anger, and the few times he gets mad, and he just, that snarl goes over his face, you know.
It's funny because my wife doesn't like him because he has a creepy face, especially when he does the angry face. She's like, ugh. He was creepy in Harry Potter, what little you saw of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. It's a toss-up. I think Matt Smith or David Tennant could have pulled it off, but I think Peter Capaldi has the chops. But I think that his biggest strength is the delivery of speech. He's got an almost William Shatner kind of quality to him, which might be why he's kind of polarizing. Because I love his delivery, but some people hate it, and there's not really much in between. Not much of a grading in between.
Yeah.
And he's definitely got the really deep Scottish accent, and sometimes it's like, what? I have to like replay some parts. Like, I'm getting actually better as the more I pay attention to him, the more I quickly pick it up. You know, first run through, but it's still good to rewatch these episodes. You start picking up other things.
Yeah.
And these last two I watched a few times. Sometimes I skipped around. Sometimes I just watched them all the way through. But there's a lot of things that I still feel like I missed some stuff. So anyway, at the end of Under the Lake, we see a body in the water, and everybody's like, "Well, wait, they're all in the cage. Which ghost is this?" And Clara is just as swift as a doctor, and she's like, you could tell she's getting this sinking feeling in her gut, in her heart, and all of a sudden, the ghost turns around, and it's the doctor. Dun dun dun. And and she was swift because she was like, it must have been someone that died. Something must have changed in the past. It's seconds ago we saw the doctor go back in time in the TARDIS. He said he's going to go to where it all started, and all of a sudden you see a body in the water. Not a good feeling. So anyway, and before the flood, the second part of this episode 4 of series 9. We learned that I'm gonna jump a little bit ahead, but one of the big things we learned here is that the ghosts only attack if you have seen the words. The coordinates that they found in the ship. By the way, I forgot to mention that when it went inside of the ship, they saw these words, and the doctor says even though we can't read, most of us can't read these words. When we look at these scratching, these letters, these characters in the space shuttle, we know what they mean. Like, we deep down inside, in our psyche, we know what they mean. We carry it with us. So he wanted this whole thing, and I think this was pretty brilliant too. So it's worth mentioning that. How like these words rewrite you. They reconnect the synapses in your brain and all this stuff, and that's kind of cool. So, but I like that bit because I think it's true. Like, you ever like remember something? Like, it's kind of like that feeling of deja vu you get sometimes, where something really random or obscure, something we don't consciously understand, creeps up into our conscious, from something we maybe read or saw or heard somewhere before, and all of a sudden it's like boom, we start like filling in the gaps, and we don't know if it's is it divine, inspiration, or intervention of the sort, or is it something we encountered before that was ingrained deep in our psyche? This is, I think that's fascinating. Don't you think?
It is. I think that's kind of a cool concept, kind of an interesting idea, and I mean, we've all kind of had that moment at some point or another. I think it's what I call the "oh yeah" moments. Whether you're talking to someone or you're thinking about something, and you're like, "That reminds me." I actually had one not long ago, but that was with Fallout when they announced Fallout 4.
Oh boy!
And everyone was talking about would we see the dog again?
What was the name?
Dog meat.
Dog meat, yeah.
And that's the thing that hit me. And so I was like, didn't the dog have a name? And then I was like, oh yeah, it's dog meat. Like,
yeah, because I forgot it, and like people could talk about dog meat, and then I remember, oh, that's the name of the dog. Like, I didn't consciously register that, but I know I saw it somewhere. I'm like, oh, it's the dog from Fallout, yeah,
Yeah, like and then, like, that'll always lead me down different roads. Like, that makes me think of Excel Saga with Menchie, and by the time I'm done, somehow I got to One Piece, and I don't even know what happened. Wasn't I talking about Fallout?
One of mine that's kind of funny is, like, I made this connection long ago, but I didn't really like acknowledge it consciously. But like, Stand By Me, we've seen it a bunch of times, and it's one of those movies kind of just don't always like pay attention. You might have it in the background, or I don't remember like key scenes in it, but I've seen it a bunch of times. But I couldn't tell you like things exactly that happen in there. So if you quote something from it, it'll probably go right over my head. But like, I didn't make the conscious connection between young Will Wheaton and Wesley Crusher on Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Until and then I finally made it consciously when I was looking at the box, something compelled me to pick up the box and look at the credits, and then I seen the credits Will Wheaton, and I'm like, is that the same Will Wheaton? Oh my god, it is!
Wait a minute.
And then when that happens, when you make that conscious registration, all of a sudden, all the other connections that you've made subconsciously become more evident. So they play up on that concept too. You know, cause now I notice Will Wheaton on everything, not just, you know, the Guild, but I see him on, I notice him more on the Big Bang Theory and other things he's done. I'm like, oh, Eureka, hey, yeah, that's the same Will Wheaton from Stand By Me and Star Trek.
Yeah. And Twitter, always Twitter.
Oh yeah, Will W, what a great name. For character, he kept it simple. He is one of the funniest people. I enjoy his tweets on there. They're always witty, even though sometimes they hurt me. Like it was one that hit right home for me. Is like, when I see a guy drinking Coors Light in the bar, I wonder, do you hate beer or do you just hate yourself? Or you just hate life? I'm like, hey, I like... Like, do you know, it was something, he said it much better, and I was like, do you just like bad beer or do you just hate life? Like, hey, sometimes I want to drink Coors Light in the bar because, you know, if you're going to go in the bar, you might as well get the top shelf stuff. You're already spending money. But if I'm drinking at home, I drink Coors Light because it's cheap. Bang for the buck.
Yeah.
My go-to beer is 211 though, as you guys may know. Steel Reserve. Kids, if you're not at drinking age, wait a few years. Not a big deal. Not a huge thing. You know, there's time for that.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it family friendly. Anyway, so before the flood, the opening scene here, you know, the doctor addresses the audience again. This is why I brought it up earlier. He's looking right at us. Actually, bro, how cool would it be if all this time he's been addressing us? You know, the thing that he did in the series premiere of Series 8, and he's been doing it on and off. He's definitely doing this series. How cool would it be if all these times he's been addressing someone, especially in the TARDIS, there actually is someone he's communicating with? Perhaps a future regeneration of himself, another Time Lord, a future companion. Maybe there's some timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff going on. Maybe he's preparing for something bigger.
What about a past regeneration?
Or past regeneration, yeah.
What if the whole time he's sitting there, he's technically talking to Matt Smith?
Oh, so maybe avert some... It's possible that he could be averting, like creating a new time stream so he could avert his unnecessary death or deaths.
Yeah.
So he could... Or, because, you know, I think we've kind of accepted that maybe this clerical error is just a new strain of regenerations. We've kind of just accepted that's what's going to happen. But maybe it's something bigger. Like, maybe he just rewrites his own history, but he has to do it in a clever way so he doesn't, like, create some jacked up paradox. Dude, how blown will minds be if that happens?
Right.
So, I mean, that's a very long play there, and that's probably a little wishful thinking. I think Moffat could pull it off, but I don't know if that'll be a Series 9 reveal. It might be a Series 10 reveal.
Well, see, the only reason I was theorizing that perhaps it's Smith is you have to think, A, there's a fair amount of time where Smith fell off of our radar.
Yeah.
You know? And B, like, one of the things that Matt Smith said before regenerating to Capaldi, you know, sneezing so hard that he became Capaldi, is, you know, he didn't want to forget. And so technically, in an attempt to not forget, it could have created this alternate consciousness where he kind of talks to himself to logically think things through because Smith didn't want to release, you know, he didn't want to go. So this person that he'd be talking to would be Matt Smith.
Holy crap. What about... I mean, this is a real long shot. But what about if this doctor isn't really the doctor? He's just a consciousness that's been uploaded into someone from the past, like, i.e. Fires of Pompeii. and they're paving the way for the real regeneration to come. I mean,
That
that's a
could be
long shot.
cool.
I mean, did we actually see Peter Capaldi regenerate? Yeah, we did actually.
Sort of. Like I said, Matt Smith kind of sneezes into Capaldi.
That's true.
Achoo, wham! I'm
It
Peter
wasn't.
Capaldi.
Yeah, it wasn't the usual regeneration. I
Yeah, it
mean,
was really quick, and there wasn't that weird timing, I guess. Like, you know how usually when the Doctor regenerates, there's that awkward time post regeneration, such as the fish fingers and custard, or
yeah.
or that time where he's just like, he didn't even check to see if to see if he was ginger.
Yeah, there's always a bit of like a bit of a it's almost like he's when he's reborn, he's like a pregnant woman, like he has weird cravings or weird tics
Yeah.
to his personality. And I think that's part of the fun of like what are the weird tics, the personality quirks that we're gonna see with this regeneration. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about, but actually I just realized that we don't have much time as I thought, so we'll speed it along. But now all these things are hitting me, and I'm like, ooh, man, I don't know, because they still have to address why he. I mean, I think they did touch upon the fact that he picks the faces of people he's seen in the past, but this is a very significant face. We really need to go back and watch Fires of Pompeii. I think that's might give us some more, maybe might give us some more clues, like why him of all people?
Yeah.
How significant was he? Anyway, there's an opening theme. They changed the theme up a little bit now. It's like got like a little bit of a rock flair to it. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I want to keep it that way. I kind of like more of the trancey, techno-ish type stuff. So back to the girl that we're talking about. Is kind of like Donna Noble. She's apparently ex-military, so that explains why she is so excited to see the Doctor in the flesh. And she talks about, was it Harold Saxton, aka the Master, the War Minister, and all the stuff that's happened, and stuff that hasn't happened yet in the Doctor's encounters of the timeline. And he tells her to stop talking because he's like, okay, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. He doesn't want to be so too aware of different alternate realities and timelines and whatnot because it can mess things up. In knowing these things, he might bring them to be. He might be instrumental in it. It's the whole paradox thing. What's interesting too is when they open the opening scene. I skipped this. Before the theme music, the Doctor goes to this whole thing. He basically explains to the audience what the bootstrap paradox is, and he illustrates it by saying he goes back to where Beethoven should exist, but no one knows who Beethoven is. But he meets Ludwig, so he gets Ludwig to sign his sheet music, and in doing so, Ludwig publishes the music as his own and puts his name on it, and then suddenly Ludwig becomes Beethoven. But then the question comes about, but who really composed Beethoven's Fifth? So they bring this up, and I don't think it's as much of a premise for this episode. I mean, it does, but I think they're setting up more of that long play. Like, if you are aware of something, or you have something from an alternate reality, did you bring those events to play, and you become part of a paradox? And what happens if you're removed from that? If you're removed from that paradox, does everything fall apart? I mean, it's crazy. My brain's hurting just thinking about it. BFT says, "What if his regeneration doesn't like the color of his kidneys?" I don't know. But the ginger is definitely a big thing. You gotta always check. Am I a ginger?
Right. Do you have freckles?
How's my hair? So we finally see who the weird guy in the top hat is. Who the top hat is? He's one of the big ghosts that first stands out in the previous episode, and he's Mr. Prentice of Tivoli, the most invaded planet in the universe. Have we seen Tivoli yet? I don't recall. The name sounds familiar. I feel like they mentioned it before, but Tivoli is the most invaded planet in the universe, and the Undertaker seems to be proud of that. Like, they actually like to be dominated. They're a submissive culture, apparently. I'm gonna speed along so we can get on to some other discussions. I don't want to spoil it too much, but then we see a huge character which they don't highlight that much. The Fisher King. He's the one behind all the stuff. He's the monster of the day. Missed opportunity here. I think they could have used him more. I think it was a good job they did with the makeup and everything, and it could have been more scary, more ominous. He is creepy, but they could have played it up more. Long story short, in the end of the episode, Doctor uses the hologram, which hologram tech, which we already established was a useful thing to fool the ghost. He uses that to trick the ghost and trick everybody else to thinking he actually died in the past, so he can rewrite his past and set things right. It kept him in play and kept things off of him. He got trapped in the past again. I don't know how he got trapped in the past because he's gone in his own time stream before and he's been able to get out of it. But something happened and it's some kind of alien tech or something. The TARDIS wouldn't let him move. So when he tried to get out of that timeline in 1980, he ended up, going back a few minutes and 50 feet away in the same place. It's really weird. Yeah, you gotta watch this, man. It's some crazy stuff. But I'm not gonna make us think about it. But I think episode 4 is the weakest of the episodes so far, but it was good as a set. But he used the hologram tech to trick everybody, and he explains everything in there. I want to spoil how that all works out, but that also explains why the power cell was missing, because he actually was using that. So the Doctor kind of was a jerk because he knew everything. He I think it hit him all early on, but he didn't make everybody privy to his plans. And there was one death thing here was kind of unnecessary. He kind of used someone as a guinea pig, or it felt that way. Like he could have avoided it if he knew what to do, if he knew what was going on. This is kind of weird. And I think that's all I have, really. But again, the Doctor defies death, recurring theme. He keeps barely saving Clara. So the question I'm going to leave us all at, and I wonder, let's talk about this a little bit, Oolong. Will she just simply part at the end, or is she going to be the one that dies? Because they're kind of foreshadowing death a lot in this series.
Yeah, they are. I don't know. Like, I could definitely, if Clara dies, I could see that being a huge turning point for the Doctor, almost. Like, as it was when the next closest example we'd really have would be when Rose Tyler got lost. Rose Tyler alternate dimension. And the way that affected Tennant was huge.
Yeah.
But now an actual death.
Yeah.
Not even that potential of maybe somewhere across a dimensional border it's possible, cheeky nod to Bad Wolf kind of thing. But just permadone, that could be interesting for a main character development. It might also they might utilize that to make Capaldi a little more relatable, that I feel he's been kind of missing since Series 8.
Well, they made him a lot more approachable now. Like, he's a lot more youthful and fun, energetic now. Maybe too much so. But I agree. I think that makes sense. But maybe there's a bigger play here. Maybe what's going on here, this constant, these close calls we've seen in Series 8 and Series 9 so far, and the constant themes of death and averting death or coming back from the dead. Maybe what it all symbolizes is the Doctor coming to terms with the loss and death.
Could be.
Or maybe this will be like, if she does die, maybe it'll be the events that will help him come back to his home, and because Gallifrey's kind of sort of been recovered. Maybe he'll go back there. I mean, he lost the coordinates of it. Did he lose it on purpose? He's gonna go back there. Maybe finally bring closure to that. Sow some oats. Who knows? There's a lot of ways they could go with that.
What do you mean?
Because he recovered Gallifrey, and it was remember the whole 3D art stuff, the Time Lord art. but he lost the coordinates. He doesn't know where Gallifrey actually is now.
Well, I thought Gallifrey had moved.
Yeah, he doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
At some points, he was looking for Gallifrey, but then it seemed like, and it never really. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but it never seemed to come back to that. So I think that seemed like a loose end.
Well, they did it kind of at the end of Series 8.
Did they?
Yeah, because if you remember, when he's talking to the mistress is like, I know where it is. I know where Gallifrey is.
Oh, right.
And then he takes off, like pre-Christmas episode, like right at the very end of Series 8, he takes off to go look.
Oh, yeah, Missy tells him to go somewhere, but then it's just dead space.
There's nothing there, so he's still looking.
He hasn't been looking on this episode, on this series.
Like, he wasn't really looking in Series 8 either. It was just kind of that he's looking, but he's doing it in his own kind of way. Like, he's almost Scoobying it. He's picking up clues when he can, but other than that, he's got main cases that he's taking care of.
Yeah.
And I'm sure eventually they'll kind of build that more to a full story. At least I hope they do. That would be a terrible thing to see them drop by the wayside.
Yeah, they can't just drop that for sure. I mean, it could be something that he's dropping breadcrumbs for, as long as they keep it active a little bit, and then they could do like, classic M. Night Shyamalan style, like flashback, tie it all together. Oh, he's been dead this whole time, kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, they can't drop it all together. That'd be really awkward. And there's a lot of things that they seem to be putting right in your face, and I hope it's for a good payoff at the end. We got about 20 minutes or so left, so today we're going to talk a little bit more about random TV. But I think before we do that, we should talk a little bit more about Star Wars Battlefront, because we've been doing that on every podcast we've been on. Well, at least I've been doing that on every podcast I've been on. Did you want to share any of your quick impressions on Star Wars Battlefront? What did you think about it? Did you play more after we played together?
Yeah, I did. I played quite a few times, and I gathered up a few different groups of friends just to see, how it would go. Like, I've been catching up with a couple of my older Call of Duty buddies, and we wanted a break from AW, so we went over to the beta when it was still going. And, I mean, it was pretty fun. I think, like I told you back when we were playing the beta, I feel like some things weren't well explained, like in the walker mode.
Yeah.
But after a few games, I kind of was picking up with it, and
yeah, I found out towards the end. Did I tell you that you can actually use the tow line to bring down the walkers if you get in the?
You can attach it and trip them up.
Yeah, and it's tricky too.
Yeah. But it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed the gameplay. The problem I had, like the biggest problem, is the graphics were gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would be looking at like a Y-wing on fire, and all of a sudden I get shot, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm playing a video game. This isn't a movie. That looks so pretty though.
Yeah, they definitely delivered on that end.
I'd be watching TIE fighters shooting X-wings in the sky, and everyone's like, what is that guy looking at? I don't know, but I'm gonna shoot him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was very happy with the amount of content in the beta. I wish they would have at least whet our palates more by letting us know which modes would be available in the full game. Because now, with all the modes that weren't available, including some of the single-player / co-op stuff, people assume that there isn't any campaign, but there kind of is. And there's at the very least a single-player content, so they got that covered. People are also making a huge assumption now, and I've seen this going around, and there's nothing. I haven't seen anything firm about this, but people are assuming that most of the game is gonna be DLC, like especially modes like Fighter Squadron and all that stuff are gonna be DLC to get to buy, and they're already talking about. It has been confirmed it's gonna be 12 maps at launch, so that's a good stable of maps, especially if they're all used throughout the modes. But they're already talking about season pass, and they're already talking about I think a $50 map bundle.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so Like that's just feeding into the concerns that we've had, like there might not be enough content in the product that actually ships. I gotta be honest, I definitely want to get this game, but I might actually just hold off until it releases and see what happens. I think what I might end up just doing, especially because budget issues, I might just get EA access, because apparently you can play it the week before it comes out for free. Yeah, I think that's how EA access works. You don't have to actually, yeah, because they don't have any way to prove that you own the game. So with EA access, and you always play a game a week before it comes out. You can pay either $5 a month or $30 for the year. I think I might just do that just to get a little taste of it myself before other people start talking about it and ruin it.
Yeah,
$5,
I mean,
why not?
I don't know. I'm interested, and maybe, but unfortunately, it falls in that Halo time frame for me.
Yeah.
Halo's coming out on the 27th, and that one's going to be a major absorber of my time.
I think I might just get that now, just because you're gonna be playing it. BFT canceled his Xbox Halo 5 bundle, but at least me and you can play together. I don't know. He said because he wants to get a Harley.
He wants to get what?
A Harley.
Oh.
A motorcycle.
Right, I can't fault the man if he wants to get a bike. I personally enjoy bikes as well, so I can't fault him. At the same time, the way this story is looking for that game, it's going to be huge, so I can't wait.
See, the thing is, I don't really care about the story. I just care about the multiplayer experience.
Oh, dude. Well, like, I wasn't caring about the campaign, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and it's just from the tradition of being a Call of Duty player. No one cares about the story. Like, why waste that hour and a half it'll take you to beat it? But as I've been, like, looking into, like, there's a lot of depth of story in Halo.
Yeah, but don't you need to be familiar with what happens in Halo 4? Because I skipped that one.
You do, and it's definitely important, but at the same time, like, I've got the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I seen you playing that.
So I can, me and my roommate have dedicated to play through all the campaigns. I'm playing all the way from the original Halo straight through 4, catching all the campaign at once, just in time, so that 5 will be coming out, and I can kind of, get into that legacy storyline type thing they've got going on.
Yeah.
At the same time, trust me, multiplayer is going to be my main focus. A lot of arenas. The new multiplayer looks phenomenal. They announced the new ranking systems. And they announced, in competitive play, I think they did something really unique with competitive play. Which is, there are so many bannable offenses, I think that it's going to make it an actual competitive scene, because the trolls will see bans and suspensions.
Now that excites me, because, I'm like the competitive, but I want to have a game where it's actually competitive in terms of it's fair. It just comes down to skill, not script kiddies and bots and all that crap. No, that's not fun.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah, it's funny because I was really gung-ho about Battlefront, and I'm not taking the negative publicity to heart, but, Halo 5 is going to come out sooner. It seems like there's going to be more people playing that. I could do EA access to play Battlefront and see how that plays. Rainbow Six Siege to me is still a must-buy. So, not that I'm not sure on Battlefront, but I want to wait it out, because if they do have a lot of stuff with DLC, I just can't afford that business right now. I want a good bit of variety in the core product. I don't want this business of, if you want to play Fire Squadron, that's DLC. If you want to play Cargo Drop, that's DLC. I want multiple modes so I could just switch it up. I like a game that has lots of replay value, and it has to have that, because if they're not focusing on single player, as they said, they do have it there, but the main thing is multiplayer. Then they need to have a variety of modes in there. I mean, I love Walker Assault, and that's gonna be the de facto way to play it, but I want to be able to maybe just have a deep space battle in different types of spaceships. That sounds cool to me.
There was something I was kind of theorizing about Battlefront, and I think it'll be kind of cool. You said that there's going to be a $50 DLC, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the estimate what they're rounding out. Like, I don't know if that's gonna be for all the maps altogether or what.
What I think might be really interesting that they do is the new Star Wars movies coming out. You know, the new Star Wars movie drops in December, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think what people are gathering that from, because the $50 price point seems to be just a season pass.
Okay, so if that's the season pass, that means that the overall, if they're doing it a la Call of Duty style, that means that you would probably be looking towards four downloadable content packs, each at about $15 a piece if you buy them independently,
Yeah.
or $50 as a whole, and basically you save $10 off the overall.
I would not be surprised if these DLC packs are like $20. It might be massive packs, you know. Who
Maybe
knows?
like I don't know. Lately, the season pass thing has been getting on my nerves, and I hate to say it, but it started with Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer is absolutely who made sure I will never buy a season pass again.
Yeah.
And it's because their season passes, all right, Call of Duty had a long-standing tradition, and it was okay, you're gonna get your season pass, and your season pass is gonna be a little pricier, but basically you're gonna pay $45 and you're gonna basically pre-advance pay for three of the DLCs and get a free DLC.
Yeah.
And then Sledgehammer said, well, we're gonna increase that. Now you're gonna pay $50.
Yeah.
And your season pass doesn't cover things like microtransaction camos
Yep.
or extra class slots. And it's like, wait a minute. So now I'm paying for three in advance and only paying $5 for the last DLC. However, you're going to still release a ton of stuff when I'm basically paying for the game twice that I
Mm-hmm.
won't have access to. That's ridiculous.
Well, for me, it's even more of a sore point because my ISP they charge me $10 per 50 gigs downloaded. I'm basically getting a $10 surcharge for every game that I install, which is
Yeah.
absolutely insane. So that makes me even more. I'm already, I'll just say budget minded. I have a family. It's like every decision is like, well, we'll just take food out of people's mouths.
Oh, I was gonna say no. We have a phrase for that. It's responsible adult.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doubting there's gonna be a lot of content worth looking at, but the way they approach is very. To me, season pass is such a misnomer. You know, ultimately what it becomes is a map bundle, and that to me the best value is at when you buy after the fact. But they know people are gonna be aching to play it with their friends, so they'll buy it ahead. So you're paying for content that may not even come out or may not even be complete. So it's basically a really shady crowdfunding kind of thing because there's nothing stopping them from saying, oh well, no more content. So everybody bought the season pass. Sorry. I agree with you. Like the season passes should be more inclusive. Not include all microtransaction stuff, but at least give you like certain amount of credits each month, like an allowance, like so you can buy some skins and stuff. So that season pass should have value now and value later. Then you can really call it season pass. Otherwise, it's just a freaking map pass or a map bundle.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is something you guys will see. We'll talk a lot about on all games and geeky antics, and everybody in the gaming community seems to be talking about, pre-orders and season passes, and if they're really a good deal for the consumer. And for the most part, they're not.
Well, I mean, yeah, because like I forget who I was watching, but they were talking about basically how has pre-ordering is what's ruining gaming at the moment. It allows companies to get away with things such as, oh, what's a good example? The Assassin's Creed. We're going to release a broken product. We're going to refuse to patch it, and we're going to say, suck it up. We're sorry, but you have to deal with it. We're not going to fix it. Yes, the product's broken. Just wait for the next game.
Yeah.
So many people pre-ordered that game because Assassin's Creed had not let them down to that point that they basically made enough sales they didn't even have to concern themselves with it. And that's terrible.
Yeah.
Because then they said, well, forget the consumer, forget you guys.
And that's the problem with, that's an even bigger problem with the annualized releases. You know, you annualize a franchise, and then on top of it, you're gonna promise DLC just to have another game come out on the tail of the last release of the, you know, season pass content or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's pretty bogus.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I think I hear a cat. I hear a cat. Hold on a second.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that's you. I has no cat.
Yeah, hold on a second. Well, wow, I see where that's coming from. Have you been watching any shows? I know we're gonna wrap up soon, but I was gonna talk a little bit about Continuum, Heroes Reborn, and Lost Girl. Have you catch up with any of that?
I've been watching Heroes Reborn. Let me see. I have not watched Continuum. I have been watching a few other things.
By the way, it was Blue. She wanted to get into the man cave. That's like the saddest meow ever. She was like, meow, meow. Like, she was crying. I'm sorry, baby.
I'm actually partway into iZombie now, season 1.
Cool, and that's not starting back up anytime soon, so you have time for that.
Right, that's super good.
So you like the recommendation?
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I'm like, it's really got me hooked, and there's times I'm like, I really need to sleep for work. You cannot watch one more episode. You cannot watch. You know what? I can go into work a little tired.
Yeah, that usually sounds like a good idea initially. Then you're like, I'm regretting it. Like last night, I stood up late rewatching Doctor Who and brainstorming, getting some stuff ready. And this morning, I usually try to get up early for the show, like around, 8 or 9. And I just listen to a bunch of Doctor Who podcasts, get my head in the game and see what other people are thinking about it. And today I was like, snooze, snooze, snooze.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what that's like. It's not like I was drooling till the halftime.
I know, I texted you like mad too. I'm like, come on, I need you. I got so excited to talk about this stuff. But
yeah, I was so out of it, man.
So Lost Girl, Lost Girl, you're not caught up with yet, right?
I've watched as much as I could find. I haven't seen anything new.
I think they're up to episode 14, and I think they have 2 more episodes left. What's weird about it, they have like an episode at the end that really feels like filler. Like, and it's a fun episode, but like it kind of made me depressed because I'm like, this show's gonna end soon, and they're putting this fun, almost pointless episode in the end. It kind of ties in, but it really feels out of place.
Yeah, it's like you have just such a finite amount of time, and you burned an entire episode on this. Yeah.
Yeah, and all I will say is that it follows a whimsical world of a popular storybook environment.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think. Oh, one of the things that's gonna really catch me in the hiccups, though, is so many things are going back on season now.
Yeah, Arrow's back.
Supernatural's
Flash,
back.
Supernatural.
Of course, the Doctor's returned.
Yeah, Heroes Reborn, I gotta say, is a really good show. They made up for the fact that the original Heroes series kind of fell flat because HRG is back. They're bringing back other characters. They got Zachary Levi is kind of one of the characters going to be carrying the show. Like, I think he between the horn rim glasses, HRG, and Zachary Levi's character, I think they could make up for the fact that Peter Petrelli and Sylar both kind of fell flat towards the end of the, Heroes. Though, I think Heroes, the writer's strike hurt them, but there was still some quality there. But it did get progressively less engaging each season.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen this at all, right? You haven't seen Heroes Reborn at all?
No, I have. I've seen like the first episode.
Okay, okay.
Like I watched the first episode, and I actually need to go back and check my Hulu for episodes possibly
Well,
two and
how
three.
far are you in it? Because I thought you didn't really get to watch it much.
I've only watched episode one
Okay, so I
because
was
I'm
right.
waiting for Hulu to catch me up.
Okay, okay. I was about to make sure. 'Cause I knew you had seen it a little bit. I know we had talked about it, but I had the impression you didn't really get to watch it. But yeah, so I won't spoil it, but there are some confirmed characters that are coming back. But I'm just curious what really happened to Claire. That's the big question.
Right.
Other than there's
they kind of open the series with.
yeah, well, other than the fact that she's on Nashville.
Well, you know.
Yeah, but so who knows? Might be
That's what it
surprised.
is. The explosion was so big she flew to Nashville.
I buy it. Hey, she's in your neck of the woods, pretty much, huh?
Right.
So we've been watching the Clone Wars as part of like we're watching in chronological order for Star Wars Rebels Cast UK.
Mhm.
So maybe that could be something you could join us in sometime. We record those episodes randomly,
Cool.
and that's actually watching that has made me appreciate the prequels more. And I even kind of appreciate Jar Jar Binks a little bit more. I know I'm gonna be crucified for that, but
Never.
the Ewoks are still better. Like I hate when people say, "Well, if you can't hate Jar Jar Binks and like Ewoks," I'm like, actually, yes, because Ewoks are useful.
I was like, I absolutely can. I accept that challenge.
But that's the argument you'll hear. Have you watched Gotham at all?
I'm out. I'm also in the middle of that.
Okay. That gets
Yeah.
better and better as it progresses.
That's what I've heard, and I'm kind of like, here's the problem. I made a mistake. Everything kind of updated on Netflix all at once, and I went into hyper kid mode,
Yeah.
and I jumped.
And now you're
around really
overwhelmed.
hard.
Yeah.
So like, I started watching Arrow. Then I started watching Gotham because I'd heard nothing but good things. Then iZombie came out, and I kind of put both those on hold to watch iZombie. And then Supernatural started new, so now I've been keeping up with that and Once Upon a Time.
Oh god, that show's overwhelming to me. I watch it. I used to watch it a lot with the wife, but I feel like there's so much I missed that it's like, oh, I don't know if I can get it. But I don't know if I can bite that off. I mean, I finally finished Weeds after taking so long to finally finish that, catch up with that. That was satisfying.
Believe it or not, I never started that show.
I enjoy it. If you like Breaking Bad, it's kind of a similar kind of formula.
Like, I heard amazing things about it, and like, it's one of those, I know one day I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's worth
But
it.
that's probably somewhere down the line when like all my shows are off season. I've caught up through my fandoms again, and it's like, man, now I just need something new to watch.
Well, you know what we could
I'll
do?
watch this.
What we could do, maybe one of the projects we could do like pre-recorded shows where we just do episode by episode recaps of old shows like Buffy and Weeds. Maybe that could be a separate thing that we can include in our new podcast feed that we're working on. That could be a fun little project. Could have a dedicated show, not so much, but if we could just do like minis where we do recaps and impressions, like revisiting old shows, or maybe it could be part of time when we teach them. We'll see how we can fit it in.
I don't know. We always seem to go over time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we could make that. That'll be like its own little mini series. It can be like the TWTT crumpets or something.
Oh, I like that.
Gotta have crumpets with tea.
Heck yeah. But Falling Skies I also finished recently. That had a good ending. I finished Continuum. Now I gotta say I highly recommend Continuum. Going back, I'm gonna say I really love this show. It's got like cop drama elements. It's got really good science fiction elements, time travel, great production value, great characters. But I was so disappointed, dude. You say you never got into Continuum, right?
No.
Was there even ever an interest in there?
I did not, like, not really.
See, the way I stumbled into Continuum is that I got into Almost Human because I knew it was going to be canceled, but I was told it was a really good show and I did really enjoy it, and then left a void. And Continuum kind of follows a similar kind of format, sort of. So the first time I got into Continuum, it didn't stick with me. It didn't resonate with me. But then I gave it another shot, and I'm glad I did because it gets way better. A lot of stuff seems like that. They're like slow burns. But then like I don't know what happened. I don't know the full story, but I guess the show got canceled, and they fought to have one more season to wrap it up because the fan outcry was so big.
Mm-hmm.
But the last season was like, and it was at season 4. Is it like last season? I didn't know it was just a 6-season episode, a six episode season.
That's what they did to White Collar.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
They were gonna cancel White Collar, and White Collar's like, we've been building. You gotta give us some time. Give us a few episodes. We gotta wrap this for the fans.
All right, is that the season that takes place after the Diamond Exchange? Because I haven't seen that season yet. Okay, because I thought Matt Bomer, that's his name, right? I thought he fought to keep the show on for at least another full season. He ended up becoming a producer, and he had a little bit of a pull on the network, apparently.
They tried, but basically it came down to the network's call, USA Network, and they said, we'll give you 6 episodes.
Did they wrap it up neatly at least?
I can honestly say, for only being handed 6 episodes, that was one of the most impressive all-inclusive wrap-ups I've ever seen. I was so happy with the way they ended that series. It left no bad taste in my mouth, and I still go back. Like, when I get tired, like, I have certain shows I go back and I watch regularly. How I Met Your Mother, The Office, and White Collar got added to that list. Burn Notice, I thought Burn Notice wrapped really well.
Yeah.
Those are the shows I can go back to, like, because they ended so good. And White
By the way, Bruce Campbell on Lost Girl.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm with you. Burn Notice is definitely up there with me. I think White Collar too. It's kind of similar formula.
Yeah. And but White Collar, it ended really well. It wasn't like let me think. Oh, I know the show that gave me like the worst disappointing ending and kind of ruined the show for me.
Under the Dome.
Dexter.
I still kind of want to watch. I want to catch up with it just to see what's left. I have a morbid curiosity, but I hear that's universally like the worst ending. But I'm so curious, how bad can it be? I gotta catch up with that.
Go ahead, catch up.
The thing is, I don't even remember where I left off. Like, I remember Crazy Girl burning things down. I remember Dexter and Rita getting closer together. I remember the whole thing that happens to Dokes, explosions.
Right.
Does that leave me somewhere in like season 4, 3?
3. Actually, end of 3, start of 4, maybe.
So I think I might just start off at season 4, and if I feel lost, I'll just go back. That's a lot of show to watch. Isn't it 8 seasons? Or 7?
Did it have? It might have been 7. I'm not sure. For some reason, I thought I want to say it was only like 6 seasons.
Now that's a Showtime show, and Showtime also did True Blood, or was that HBO?
True Blood. I think True Blood was Showtime.
Yeah, so
HBO's doing like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's right. They have the little fuzzy beginning of the TV, the fuzzy TV. You know what I'm talking about? The HBO opening. Yeah, Showtime seems to have a bad run of how they wrap up shows. I'm noticing.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe we talked about all these shows that came back and I forgot to mention.
Which one?
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier before you got back on, I think. Yeah. We have to get you back on soon. So try to see if we get 2 weeks time off. That 2 weeks, so we keep the flow going. Because the last time we got to talk, we do have to wrap it up before we open up another can of worms. But Mr. Robot is. You know what I thought? How I thought Mr. Robot had a new season. Apparently, it was because Mr. Robot's now in Canada, and they're touting as the episodes. Yeah. The Strain's still going, and that's still a good fun show. Z Nation, I'm really enjoying. It's like the fun-loving Walking Dead. We don't take ourselves too seriously. They take a lot more risks with that show. I highly recommend Z Nation. It's a pure zombie experience. It's a really fun romp, but there's also quality story elements in it too. But continuing back to Continuum, it ended on a somber note. It felt that season could have been so good if they had more episodes to work with. Man, they built up so many things. Like, I want to see where they go with it, and it was like the end. I'm like, oh. I think it's worth checking out. The first season it might be a little tough. It's a lot of exposition, but I think it picks up very well. And what I like about the way they ended it is that the last season has a theme of redemption and unlikely allies, and forging of new friendships. And again, like the redemption thing is kind of like finding forgiveness and redeeming yourself with your friends and changing your perspectives of people. It's a lot of cool themes they have there, and man, it almost makes me want to. I'm crying inside. I'm actually literally sad because I was like, it wasn't so much like that's it. It was like I wish there was more.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, I like that made me go back to the show collectively, and I did really enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would. Another one I think is a surprising pick that I found out after the fact has become a bit of a critical darling and apparently was a hit show, and so it should be coming back. There's a summer series called The Whispers. Did you ever get into that? I know I've recommended it before.
I haven't. Like I said, I've had my plate's been.
I know,
so
dude.
Full, and I've been jumping so back and forth.
Well, you and I, we don't really normally watch this much TV, and now we're getting into it to kind of have the conversation, the water cooler conversations and stuff.
Right.
The Whispers I do really recommend. There's only a few episodes, like maybe 8 episodes. It's a short season.
Mm-hmm.
Summer series usually don't have that much budget, so they don't order. It doesn't have a high budget, so they usually don't order that many episodes. But I like the direction it's going in, and it's really creepy. And it's got like sci-fi and fantasy elements alike. It's really neat, and it keeps you thinking, like, and guessing what's gonna happen. I would say it's not very predictable.
Yeah.
It's a good ride to go on. So that's one I got. So I got to go back to The Whispers and White Collar because you really built up White Collar. I got to see what happens next.
Oh my gosh, you really do. White Collar, and it's one of those you can get through really quickly because 6 more episodes. But those 6 episodes are so impactful and so well done.
All right. So that's our homework then. But so these days, bro, since you haven't been around much, where can people usually find you now?
Same old places, still, F8TL Blades at the @ symbol before that, of course, on Twitter. And I'm debating still streaming. With the Xbox now, I'm probably going to be streaming all of my Halo stuff. Maybe still some CSGO, and that's twitch.tv /F8TL_Blades. And pretty much other than that, at my job, like trolling the interwebs.
Yeah. My Skype just crashed too. Whoa. Interesting. You still there?
I am.
All right. Good thing we have the TeamSpeak as a backup. You hear me okay?
Right. Oh yeah.
Skype has been really funky monkey lately, I gotta say.
I actually muted my Skype because I figured TeamSpeak would be the more reliable. I've been having issues with my Skype as well.
Yeah, I think there's something going on with their service. It's been doing some really weird things. But all right. So yeah, I'm usually, same usual places. I haven't been doing too much gaming, but Twitter, Xbox Live, YogiZilla, still probably the best bets. And don't forget, folks, you can find Timey Wimey Tea Time wherever fantastic, beautiful podcasts can be found, including but not limited to Stitcher, iTunes, Player FM, Zune, or whatever Zune is these days, TuneIn Radio, and Spreaker. And you can also catch us on allgames.com, so make sure you support our unofficial sister network. We got an upcoming Twitch stream marathon coming up. It's going to be a 40-hour deal. Hopefully, Fado will be with us, along with some other familiar faces. We got stuff coming up with the Unified Combat League, UCL. And I think that covers everything. And normally at this part I queue up music, but Skype made everything crash. There we go. We're good. We're good to go. Any last plugs or recommendations or thoughts?
Oh, I forgot. Now that I am on the, I upgrade to the Xbox One. You guys can find me there as well. Also, F8.
Yeah! Which we haven't taken advantage of. That's partly my fault, as much as we should have. I regret. I thought that Star Wars Battlefront beta was going to run longer, and it really didn't. That extra day was just extra few hours. I wish we had a chance to play more, but you know what? Maybe if you get EA access, we could play together.
Maybe.
$5.
I don't know. EA only releases like a handful of stuff that I care about.
Well,
but maybe.
Dragon Age is good.
But I've got a lot of catching up to do in that.
Yeah,
it's hard for me
a lot of
RPGs with my hectic schedule.
We can play Battlefield 4 for funsies. They finally fixed it. It works now.
I know I've got Battlefield Hardline. I don't know if I have 4. But
I wonder how long before they put Hardline on EA access.
I don't know. I heard a lot of things about the beta was better than the game itself, but I haven't gone back to really try it. And like I said, Halo will probably absorb me for a good while, so if you get Halo 5, there'll be tons of opportunity to play that. Yeah,
I'm kind of recanting. I'm gonna have to get that and hold off on Battlefront. I hate to say, not because of the stuff the people are saying about the not having it actually is because of that. I gotta be honest. I'm worried that they may not have that much content and it's all gonna be monetized. That really scares me. So we'll see. But yeah, it's everything. Hopefully we'll catch you, the audience, here in a couple of weeks, and you, Oolong, as well.
Yeah. Hopefully I will be able to be making more regular appearances. We will see. The future is a very time is a very, it's not a straight line. It's very wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. All right, brother. You gonna be around today?
Yeah. I've got a couple of things in the day, but for the most part, I've got today off. It's going to be kind of a chill day for me.
Cool. So maybe we'll do some Xbox One gaming tonight, folks. For those joining us live or listening, hopefully I'll get this episode up ASAP. Anyway, time for the outro, and catch you guys later.
Take it easy.
Bye.
We thank you. We thank you for every crumb, biscuit and cake you bring to the table. Because Doctor Who belongs to all of us. What you bring to the timey-wimey tea time in your live chat participation, comments, likes, shares, tweets and voicemail, all of it means the world to us. Love, true love, never fails. Do you like it? If you like what we're doing, well, tell us for God's sake. Shout it from the rooftops at geekyantics.net or call it in 206 415 4987. That's 206 415 4987. That's it. Bless you. So long. And thanks for all the fish. Hold on, it won't be that long. Just a wee while. Because the timey-wimey tea time will be back. We'll return next Saturday with fresh insights, questions and epiphanies about Doctor Who. And heck yes, everything geek. Maybe same bat time. Absolutely the same bat channel. Every Saturday.
Tiny, whiny tea time. Me gusta.